Hey, welcome back, my friends. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title Podcast. If you're like me, the summer is on the horizon, and you have a desire to be healthy, to be in shape, to work out, to lose weight. And over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to help you do that. Step one, you have to get into the right mindset. If, like say you have a summer vacation coming up, you want to get, your beach body ready, and you are going to be motivated to do that for about 2 weeks. After that 2-week mark, the motivation goes away, and the only way that you will be consistent with a workout program is if you have the right mindset. So this week, today, we're going to talk about the mindset and getting right, because if you have the right mindset, you can become disciplined, because discipline is what makes you healthy. Discipline is what gets you to the gym when you're not feeling it. Motivation is fleeting, and motivation comes and goes, and use it. When you're motivated, it's magic, right? It's just, everything's easy, but that does go away. So step one, in order to avoid the motivation trap, you have to be disciplined. In order to be disciplined, you have to make fitness, make health a priority. And I usually don't like to say there's multiple priorities, but when I'm using the word priority, I'm putting in a list of things you're going to do for the day and giving health a time slot, right? Because we do not have infinite number of hours in a day. Therefore, something has to get put on the list. And when it pops up on the list, that becomes your priority, meaning the one thing you worry about, one thing that you're going to put time and effort into. A lot of times we fill up our day with urgent things that are just not important. You can say, for me, it might be, I really need to cut the grass. That is an urgent problem. I don't like the way it looks. The neighbors are going to think I'm lazy. So therefore, I must cut the grass today at this certain hour. But if I've made health my priority, then maybe on that day when it's time to cut the grass, I don't, because health comes at a little bit higher. It comes higher up, and I just let it go. And that can be hard depending on your personality. If you're a perfectionist, seeing things in your life that aren't perfect is challenging and it's hard. But you have to do that. We suffer a lot from, worrying about the urgent, but not the important. And I will say, I don't think, fitness should be the most important thing of your life. I think there's relationships, way more important. Like, for instance, if you are in a time of your life where life is just super busy and you are seeing your wife for 1 hour a day, it would be tough for me to recommend, just give up that hour, go to the gym, go for it. It will be okay. Your wife will understand in 5 years when you finally, life slows down. Maybe you can't go to the gym that day, but if health is your priority, maybe you have 5 minutes to do push-ups, 5 minutes to, jump rope, or maybe you're only focused on the eating side of your health because you don't really need to fit that into a time slot. You are going to eat. Therefore, during that time in your life, choose health. But you have to have made that a priority, and you have to turn that into discipline. That is the important part. You have to become disciplined, and you have to put health in. So make a list, of the things that for sure are urgent, that you are willing to give up in order to be healthy. In order to be healthy, you are going to have to develop some habits. This is my favorite book. I've talked about it a lot when it comes to habit building. This is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Tiny changes and remarkable results. And in this book, he has 4 laws of habit making. And while there's lots of ways to do this, he has put such a good system, and it's so logical. So I'm going to go over these laws of habit making and realizing that it's much easier to change a habit than it is to create a new one or completely stop one. So the first law is to make it obvious. This is the cue. And one of the ways to make things obvious is to stack it on a habit that you already do. For instance, if you get up every morning and drink a glass of water, that is just, wake up, you're thirsty, you get some water, put your shoes, your gym shoes, in the kitchen so that you step on them when you go to the sink. Make it obvious. Make it so that you, like, let's say you want to start eating whatever. You want to start eating healthy food. You're going to go eat food. That at night you're going to have a snack. So put the snack that you want to eat in the kitchen where you can see it and make that snack healthy. Make it obvious. You're going to have to design the life you want. The environmental design is part of making it obvious. You need to create a world where you are a healthy person. Design your environment. That might mean go buy more workout clothes so that you don't never have the excuse of, my shorts are dirty. You have to, and that goes back to kind of the mindset thing. You have to say, I'm an athlete. I'm healthy. I work out. And you have to talk about it. One of the things you can do, we know we're going to be scrolling on the internet. If you are the average person, you're getting on social media multiple times a day, potentially for hours. Start watching influencers, for lack of a better word, working out. Watching other people work out is going to give you some ideas. It's going to put you into that mindset that I'm an athlete. I work out. I do things. When it comes to doing things, schedule something in the future that requires you to be at a certain level of fitness in order to enjoy it. Whether this is a marathon, a half marathon, Go Ruck Challenge, a Tough Mudder, a Spartan race, High Rocks. There's so many things. Put your money on the line, sign up for it, and give yourself something to work towards. You have to get in the mindset that I'm an athlete. Law number 2 is to make it attractive. This probably goes in with, buying new workout clothes. Give yourself something and a reward for doing something you don't want to do. For instance, you really want to watch Landman, or you really want to watch Yellowstone. Don't watch it unless you're on the treadmill walking, and then go for the hour, just walk for the hour and watch a show. And then the benefit of this is we might sometimes feel guilty for giving into just the laziness of watching a show. But I think it's good for a mind to, relax, and there's something to talk about at work. And some of these shows are awesome. Get on the treadmill and do it while walking. Make it attractive. Make it easy to do. Join a culture. Going to the gym by yourself can be a lonely endeavor. And while I think it's kind of lost some of its appeal, the appeal of CrossFit is you built a community. You went in every single day at 8 a.m., and it was your crew at the box and you guys were going after it. There's an appeal to building a community. My mom is on her 1900th workout at Fit Body Boot Camp in Lake Orion, Michigan. And she goes because she enjoys the workout, but she really goes because she likes the people. My mom's a social person. She has a community. So join a community. Law number 3, make it easy. James talks about the 2-minute rule. When you start building a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to accomplish. So what does this mean? The habit might be, I'm going to work out every day. So how do I make that habit easy? Working out means putting on my gym shoes. I work out at work most of the time. So I'm on a 24-hour shift, and I've made a commitment to 90% of the time to work out. And what I consider a workout is putting on my gym clothes, because I don't know what's going to happen. I've putting on my shorts, put on my shoes, get my t-shirt, go down to the gym, and I'm starting my warm up, which is usually a 3-minute walk on the treadmill. I do a side shuffle for a minute on each side. Then I turn the treadmill off and I walk backwards on it. That's my warm up. I might get into that 5-minute part of walking backwards on the treadmill, and I catch a run. I don't come back for 2 hours. And you know what? I worked out for the day. I have the habit. And over the course of the 25 years, it's worked. It has worked. And I'm definitely not the most healthy person in the world. I'm definitely not the most in shape 46-year-old, but I'm doing okay. I walk up and down stairs without assistance. My heart rate, it doesn't, beat out of my chest, because I made it easy. I made, what I consider being healthy easy. The 4th law is make it satisfying. Have a reward. I'm a sweets guy, I will admit, and I like sugar, and I can use that as a bonus or as a benefit or as a reward for working out. Like I like to have a really awesome protein shake at the end of my workout, which one is good on the health side. But two, it's my reward. Like, oh, I get to have this, and I put a bunch of fruit in it. It just tastes good, and it's part of my making it satisfying. I know at the end of my workout, I get an awesome protein shake. Whatever it is for you, figure that out. Many of you would like the idea, and I'm not super picky about it, but I know some of you like to do things consistently. And the habit tracker is that, you can put a check on the box and you can link all these checks up on this habit tracking box. I know that's super appealing. My kids the two older ones both did Duolingo for 1,000 days. They stopped learning Spanish probably on day 200. They just, they were just doing it. They were just getting through the tests, just to do it. But they linked up 1,000 days and they were so satisfied. They would, they would like get up at 11:30 if they forgot to do it before midnight so they didn't lose their streak. It was satisfying for them to hit that button and see 1,000 little check marks. One of the things James talks about in his book is never miss more than 2 days in a row. If you're trying to develop a habit and truly make it a habit, now I don't think it would be like you should work out every day for 1,000 days. That's probably excessive. But do something healthy every day for 1,000 days would be excessive. And that's the habit you're trying to build, to be healthy and to do something, to move yourself towards fitness, to make that discipline. But just don't miss more than 2 days. I think that's a great rule. And there are a lot of things in our lives that we want to remove. And the benefit of these rules is you just do the opposite. So one, you could make things invisible. You can make them unattractive. You can make it difficult. You can make them unsatisfying. So if you don't want to eat junk, don't buy junk, which means that if you really, at 8 o'clock at night and you really need, name the ice cream that you really want, you got to get in your car. You got to drive to the grocery store and you have to buy it. It makes it difficult. Tell people, give yourself some accountability. I don't want to do this. Therefore, if you do this, you have to post a picture of yourself eating ice cream at 9 o'clock at night, and that makes it unattractive. Being healthy is not, I wouldn't say it's not complicated, but it's definitely hard. Our body is naturally designed to want all the foods that we shouldn't eat. My grandpa, being a doctor, he said, if you really, really like the food, it's probably not good for you. There's something built into the human desire to have the fat, the sugary, and it's just probably not healthy for you. Now, I don't believe that food has a moral component. I try not to say good food or bad food, healthy food, unhealthy food. There's benefit to having cake because it tastes good and you're at a birthday party and you're celebrating. Obviously, all good benefits. But I think if we can switch our mindset to a common sense approach through discipline and habit building, you can have the body you want. You can have the health you want. And I do think it's so important. I just watched a motivational speaker that said, if you're healthy, you get nothing to worry about. If you're sick, you have two things to worry about. Are you going to get better or are you going to get worse? If you get better, you get nothing to worry about. If you get worse, you have two things to worry about. Are you going to live or are you going to die? If you're going to live, you get nothing to worry about. If you're going to die, you get two things to worry about. Are you going to heaven or are you going to hell? And if you're going to heaven, you get nothing to worry about. If you're going to hell, you only have two things to worry about, original or extra crispy. And I thought that was funny and very relevant. I want you to be a healthy person. And I think in order to be a healthy person, you need to eat well, move well, and be strong. And over the course of the next 3 weeks, that is what we're going to talk about. Next week, we're going to talk about being strong, lifting heavy things or light things multiple times. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I would love it if you left me a review. It really does help the show. I will see you next week. My name is Danny Dumas. Have a great day. Bye.